welcome back to my channel. So this obviously is the makeup look that I filmed today. I used mostly mineral products for this look. I say mostly because the lips, brows and mascara aren't mineral products just because I didn't have anything. There's going to be a lot of the word mineral in this video and I'm sorry in advance if it irritates anyone. But anyway, a quick backstory, my skin has been acting up recently. I never really suffer from breakouts, so I'm kind of freaked out and I thought why not just use mineral makeup whenever I can to give my skin a bit of a break. And I'm a huge fan of mineral makeup, so I thought why not kind of share a tutorial and show you guys how to use it. A lot of people kind of have a mental block when it comes to mineral, thinking that it's kind of mummy-ish and that you won't get a full coverage with it, but you can, believe me. Like my skin is full coverage at the moment and I used all bare minerals and MAC minerals and the whole lot. So if you want to see how I created this look, then just keep on watching. So to start things off, I'm going to use the Bare Minerals Prime Time Primer. This is the neutralizing one, so it has more of a yellow undertone, which is really good for counteracting any redness in the skin. For concealer, I'm going to use the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Concealer in the shade Light, and to blend that in, I'm going to use a damp beauty blender. This is my new one. Look at the difference in comparison to my old one. So this is a really full coverage concealer. A little bit does go a long way. I'm actually applying less than I usually would, believe it or not, but I'm just applying it in the areas under my eyes to kind of hide any circles, in any breakout areas, and in areas that I want more coverage. And like I said, just blending all of that in using my damp beauty blender. To set the concealer, I'm going to use the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Powder in the shade Light, and I'm using a blank canvas F40 brush. Thank you to the girl who Snapchatted me and who told me the brand and the number of this brush. I never ever remember where it's from, and she actually snapped me saying that she owned it and that's where it's from. So for anyone who's wondering, blank canvas F40 brush. But I'm just applying the powder in all of the areas that I applied the concealer to set it. For foundation, I'm using the Bare Minerals Original Powder Foundation in the shades Golden Medium and Tan Nude. Tan Nude is actually a new colour that's not being released until June. Just in case you're trying to pick it up, it's out in June and it just matches me when I have extra dark fake tan on. I started using a Zoeva foundation brush to apply this first and it just did not work. So I went back in with my AYU foundation brush that I usually always use, and this one is just the best. It's so good for liquid or powder foundation and I love it, so yeah, definitely recommend that brush. And just so you are aware, if you want to get more coverage with this foundation, you just need to spend time buffing it into the skin. By buffing it into the skin, you'll get more coverage. I actually love this foundation. It gives such a nice glow to the skin as well, which you wouldn't think from a powder. Moving on to bronzer, the one I always use is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Tan, and I'm applying this just around my forehead, temples, hairline, on my cheekbones and under my jawline. I don't really contour, but I use this to kind of bronze and then it adds definition to my face. And because I have quite a lot of fake tan on and I've no fake tan on my face, I need to kind of add a little bit of bronzer to help match my face in with the rest of my body, which is what I'm doing here. And after I apply my bronzer, I go back in with whatever's left on my foundation brush and just buff it over my skin to kind of give a flawless finish. So even though we used a powder foundation, you still need to set it because it will get really shiny throughout the day. I'm using a translucent matte powder, which is also from Bare Minerals. For my blush, I'm going to use the MAC Mineralized Blush in the shade Warm Soul, which I only picked up recently and I love it. It is such a nice colour. Moving on to highlight, I'm using the MAC Mineralized Powder in the shade Soft and Gentle, and mine is the old school one. Look at the packaging. I've had this for so long, but it is such a nice highlight shade and I'm actually glad that I pulled it out because I forget what I have in my collection sometimes, and this is such a nice colour. So to begin my brows, as always, I'm going to use the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in the shade Soft Brown, and I just use the lighter powder at the beginning of my brows with the Inglot 13P brush. The reason I do this is because it gives it a lighter and more rounder beginning. And to finish off the rest of my brows, I'm going to use the Rimmel Brow This Way soft powder in the shade Medium Brown, and this is so quick and so easy. I really recommend this product. I've been loving it recently. And to set my brows, I'm going to use the Benefit Ready Set Brow, which is just a clear brow gel. Moving on to the eyes, I'm going to go back into the bronzer, and I'm using this on a large fluffy brush just into the crease of my eye. So I'm going back and forth and building up the colour bit by bit and making sure to blend it properly so there's no harsh edges and so it looks really seamless. This will basically act as our transition colour. Then using a smaller fluffy brush with the same bronzer colour, I'm going to apply this underneath my eyes, and you can blend this down as far as you like or as you usually would wear. Then using the same small fluffy brush, I'm going to apply the same bronze colour on the outer V and more concentrated into the crease of my eye. Next, I'm going to go into an eyeshadow from MAC. This is a mineralized eyeshadow. I think it's discontinued or else it was limited edition, but I'm using the copper shade on the left. And before I apply it, I'm just going to spray my brush with MAC Fix Plus, and this basically just makes eyeshadow apply way more pigmented. So I'm applying this all over my lid and up to my crease, but I'm not bringing the colour above my crease, and basically the bronzer will blend out this colour on the lid, so you don't want to bring it higher than the bronzer. Next, to give our eyes some definition, I'm going to use another MAC mineralized eyeshadow. I'm going to use the brown colour from this little trio here, and I'm using a flat shader brush just to push this along my upper lash line. So this will give our eyes more definition and make our eyelashes look thicker. For eyeliner, I'm going to use the MAC Eye Kohl in the shade Teddy, which is such a nice brown, and I'm applying this in my upper and lower waterline. And to finish off the eyes, I'm going to use some mascara. This is just the one that I've been using recently, and I actually really like it. Okay, so finally moving on to the lips, I'm going to go in with the MAC Pro Longwear Lip Pencil in the shade Oh Honey. This is my all-time favourite lip pencil ever. It is such a nice colour. If you've not tried it, you definitely need to pick it up. And to finish off the lips, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in the shade Nude Kate. This is such a gorgeous nude. I love it. It's only new in my collection and I need to wear it more often. It's so nice, but it is more of a glossy finish. So to make it matte, I went in with the translucent powder on top. And to set all of that makeup in place and make sure it stays on all day, I'm going to use the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. So this is the finished makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, love mineral makeup, so if you would like me to feature it more in my tutorials, then just let me know. It has helped my skin in the past whenever I suffered from breakouts and stuff, so hopefully we'll do the same now. But anyway, if you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on my other social media. I'll leave all the links in the description box below the video, as well with a full product list of all the products that I used in the description box, the tan I'm wearing, music, all the information, as well as my hair. I always say this, but as usual, I'm wearing Foxy Lock seamless clip-ins in the shades Platinum Blonde and Latte Blonde. I had to think there for a second. And I've also slightly toned them, but I will leave all of the links, like I said, in the description box. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!